We've done game props. We've done player props. So why not? Today's the day. Today is the day, right, Joe, of the anthem rehearsal. So I would think tonight
It's usually
we'll start
Friday.
to get some leaks. Is it
It
Friday?
does feel
Okay,
like
I'm getting ahead
Friday
of myself.
today, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It does.
it is
Well,
usually
the last
Friday.
couple days have felt like Friday because we've been talking about this game for 2 weeks now. So
I know, seriously. Like every day, I'm like, okay, how many more days do we have to talk about this damn game? Every day.
3 more
Like,
days to talk about this damn
three
game.
more
And
days? Still?
Gatorade
Okay.
props and anthem props and halftime props. So let's do it. Let's have a draft of our favorite novelty props. Who's going to start us off? I started yesterday, so I'm ceding control of the first overall pick to someone else. Who wants it?
All right, I know one of you jerks is going to probably steal this, so I better give it away as the 1-1. I'm going to go with Reba under. Reba under on the national anthem. Been talking about it for like 6 months, at least it feels like. Yeah, and the number keeps going up. And we'll find out for sure, like in around 24 hours from now, maybe a little bit more. Probably like right when we get off the air tomorrow about what the rehearsals are. Like that'll probably, if you search, that'll be available on Twitter for a short period of time. But like for years, Reba's been performing the national anthem in front of large crowds since the 70s. And she never comes close to where this number is. It opened at 83, it keeps going up. The other day at one sports book, I know in Canada, it was 90 and a half seconds. I don't understand this at all. I saw offshore this morning, it was 87 and a half, but keep on betting it up, people. And, I've heard a lot of people going to draw it out. Not me. I'm waiting to see how high it'll get. And I'm going under on whatever number, as long as we're not like back to that 83 area. If we're still around 87, 90, Reba on the under on the anthem.
I'm going to go primary shirt for Usher white at plus 250. I feel like black, it kind of just like, you want to pop, right? It's the Super Bowl. So I think white, I've seen him wearing black and white, but I think he'll go white for the Super Bowl at plus 250.
Does this mean the first one or what he wears for the majority of the songs? Like, what if he changes?
First.
What if he takes his shirt off? Yeah. I believe
that's what I'm talking
about. The primary color of the first shirt.
You gotta relax.
I'm sure he'll be shirtless at some point.
Not being
you
a part
can
of
bet on will he show a
BetQL.
nipple, so that's another way of saying will he be shirtless.
That's not what I was talking about when I mentioned nips.
Usher has
not
to
talking
go.
about Usher.
Usher has to go shirtless at some point. Not like it's going to happen. Right?
Agreed.
What do you mean?
He'll come out in a white shirt. Then I'm sure he'll take it off.
If I looked like that, I would go to the grocery store shirtless. I mean, come on, Joe.
Okay. You would?
My first overall pick. Yes, I'm going Oppo.
That wasn't
Joe.
even the bet.
I know, but I'm tailing it anyway. I'm going Oppo of Joe. And I am saying Reba, and I'm going with the Canadian books that have it at 90 and a half because I can get over at even money there or plus money in some spots.
I love it. It's crazy.
Reba anthem over 90 and a half. Look at all the country stars that have done anthems in the past. They've all gone over. Chris Stapleton crushed this number last year. There's going to be no problem. And there's a very important point here. I've been making it about how Reba is now on The Voice. Reba understands. I mean, this is a woman who had a sitcom named after her for about 10 years and has a new show in development. Jason Logan wrote about this. We'll talk to him about it in an hour. Has a new show in development. Reba understands the world stage. She's going to be up there. She's not cutting it short. She's not racing through this like this is Thanksgiving Day in Dallas in 1999 or World Series Game 3 in Atlanta. No. Reba knows how this works. Reba crushes this thing. We're going to be close. We might be over 100, but I'm going to take the over 90 and a half.
100? Holy cow. No way. No chance. The highest I see.
Let's go.
Alt line on the anthem.
85 World Series. She did. Oh, man, that was 105.
That was 40 years ago.
Okay. A 2017 Celebrity Hope softball game, 118.
Fake event.
Okay.
But Reba understands, Paul.
She does. You know what I mean?
Really?
She knows what kind of stage
I want to see
she's
some
on.
Reba
I have heard
cleave.
The bigger the event.
Just
What
Reverse
did you
Wesley.
just say?
Reba Cleave?
What are the?
Kareem.
This is like. Are we allowed to talk about this when you become a senior citizen? I assume she is, right? How old is she?
How old is Reba?
70?
I mean,
That's
if
a great
she's singing
question.
anthems in
No.
85,
Oh, she's 68.
she's 68.
Can you
yeah.
request
Oh,
68-year-old
yeah, I
cleavage,
was
Aaron?
close.
I don't think that's allowed.
Oh.
That's
I
mean,
someone's
Reba-
grandmother.
Does it still exist?
We had
So-
people.
She looks good.
We had people barking on Twitter over Dolly Parton on Thanksgiving. I think that people will come to bat for Reba.
Okay,
people were
she's different.
barking online.
Dolly's built different, though. Like, it was crazy though too. That was wild. Jerry,
you know what? Maybe
holy
it's,
cow.
it's kind of a
it is
trend recently,
wild
too.
that's the first time I've
Martha
heard Joe
Stewart.
ever say built different. It's the first time I think I've ever heard Joe say that. And of course it was in this context.
With Christian McCaffrey, it'll look like a safe bet, minus 200 to minus 250. And I mean, if you had bet one unit on him for every game that he played during the regular season, you'd only bet up about 2.5 units in profit if you'd have just done one unit for all 16 games. But the thing with him now is that what you're seeing is his usage has completely skyrocketed in the playoffs. For a running back to play over 90% of snaps is just not something that you usually see. So now the prices are kind of justified from an anytime touchdown perspective, but it's not very fun to bet. Nobody really wants to bet 2.5 units to win 1 unit on a touchdown prop. So I think if you're going to bet Christian McCaffrey, you may as well just bet him for a first half touchdown. It's anywhere between plus 130 to plus 140. So far in these 2 playoff games that we have seen with him with the Niners, 4 touchdowns in 2 playoff games. And as I mentioned, playing over 90% of snaps. But in 18 games played, including the playoffs, he has scored in 15 of those games. Well, in those 15 games, the first half touchdown was scored in 13 of them. So about 86% of the games that he has scored, he's scored in the first half. And the Niners, they're obviously very good in the first quarter. They've scored on their opening drive in 10 of 19 games. Their first half offense is top 5 in points per game as well, along with the Chiefs. So the other thing too is right now you're seeing a very popular angle for the second half under around 23.5 due to the fact that the Chiefs 18 of their 20 games have gone under that. What that means for me is that I'm going to be looking more at first half or first team touchdown scores, because I think the second half of this game, just based on what we've seen from the track record of these two teams, scoring is kind of drop off a cliff, which makes touchdowns even harder. So I think if you're going to bet Christian McCaffrey for a touchdown in Super Bowl 58, you might as well just play him for a first half touchdown at plus 140, given that he has had 2 red zone carries in the opening half in both playoff games.
Rate by Pro Football Focus. Chiefs were dead last in run stuff win rate by ESPN. The path that leaves least resistance here is on the ground, Christian McCaffrey. We're going to take over on attempts.
All right, let's talk about Brock Purdy. Love your approach here. You got a couple of different props. We know how tough the passing matchup could be, but I know there's been a trend lately with Brock. What do you think?
Yeah, we're going to hit Brock 2 different ways here. We're going to go under on passing yards. You know, if we love Christian McCaffrey to get a lot of work, we're going to take away from Brock here as well. The passing yardage number, shoppable to right around 248.5 passing yards. Let me give you some data. Now, I'm going back 13 games, but I'm going to take out 2 games. I'm taking out Week 18 when Kansas City didn't play their starters. And I'm also taking out a game in which Kansas City effectively pushed this line. The other 11 quarterbacks that have faced Kansas City, Chiefs have held 9 of the 11 under Purdy's line, 248.5, and the average passing game over those 11 games, 192 yards. 192. We're talking about getting 248.5. That gives us 6 yards of wiggle room right here. That is a tremendous opportunity. Love this chance. Kansas City ranks 3rd best in yards per completion, meaning the passes they do give up are short passes. So we may not get the big explosive gains from Brock Purdy. That'll help us hit the under as well.
Yeah, and I went over 90.5. Sorry, Joe. But here's where a lot of this lies. They're setting this number off of bad data. and we've seen this number open at like 83.5. Like it was really, really, really short and quick. And so what the bad data is that whenever they announce the national anthem singer, everyone runs to YouTube and they Google Reba McEntire singing the national anthem. And the bulk of those national anthem clips are like 15, 25, 30 years old. When she was 40 years old, you know, she was cranking out a national anthem. She's like 68, pushing 70 now. She's not a spring chicken. Reba's still got it, but she's an older gal now, right? So there's something called vocal pacing, and it's basically the amount that you can sing before taking a pause or a breath. And as you get older, your vocal pacing diminishes. So if you've ever seen, like, I was talking about this with one of our editors, Leonard Cohen, great Canadian songwriter, sings Hallelujah. A lot of people know him from that one. Leonard Cohen, at the end of his career, like Hallelujah is normally like, I don't know, like a 6-minute song. It was like a 17-minute epic because it was slow and drawn out. I also went and measured past country singers to see, you know, what was the pace for the genre. And generally country singers were going a little longer. So I got over 88.5 seconds. I know this market has definitely ticked up. It's sitting at like 90.5 is kind of the consensus now. We usually get a Super Bowl leak though when it comes to the anthem. So, you know, sit tight. Yep. It's in Vegas. You got to think someone's going to be leaking this thing out as well too. So
it'll be out
you'll
tomorrow.
See the anthem market move a lot here in the next couple of days.